ドジャースの大谷翔平選手が7月の試合を終えた際、勝利貢献度 WAR が 6.1 を記録し、フルタイムの指名打者としての歴代最高記録を更新する勢いです。彼は現在、リハビリ中の投手兼指名打者として活動しているため、そのパフォーマンスは特に注目されています。アメリカのファンからは、リハビリ中で制限を受けながらもナ・リーグの指名打者WARでトップに立っていることに対して、
二刀流ではなく、リハビリ中の投手 DH がナ・リーグの指名打者WARトップとは驚異的だ。
との声が上がっています。また、
彼が守備にも参加していたらどうなるのだろう。すごすぎる。
といった反応も寄せられています。アメリカの MLB ポッドキャストでは、著名な MLB アナリストであるティム・クルクジャン氏を交えて大谷翔平選手が、史上最高の選手であるかについて議論が行われました。クルクジャン氏は大谷選手を一生に一度の選手と評しており、そのコメントを日本語字幕付きで紹介します。
All right, so we very rarely, jokes aside, we very rarely get somebody with your like grasp historically of the game on this. Well, we never do because nobody has it like you. So when it's all said and done, like I'd love to know what your opinion on how history will view Shohei Ohtani, because like the word like greatest of all time has been tossed around to describe what he's doing or what he is capable of doing. He's not going to have the bulk contributions of the other people that have the GOAT claim. But do you think that's the sort of light he's going to be viewed in ultimately when we look back on his career 20 years from now?
Yes, I do. I think at the moment, though, it's still a little bit premature to call him the greatest of all time. I call him the most remarkable player I've ever seen. And maybe that's just semantics here, but I've never seen anybody that can throw at 100, hit a pitch thrown at 100, and then exit velocity of well over 100. I don't think there's ever been a player that could ever do that, but he hasn't done it long enough to be considered the greatest player of all time. I just spoke at the Babe Ruth Museum the other day, and there's no way around this. The guy was the best left-handed pitcher in the American League, and he decided, I don't want to pitch anymore, and he became, statistically at least, the greatest hitter of all time. Now, would that translate to today? That's a whole different story, but I really believe, and I'm in the vast minority on this, if there was a DH in 1920 in the American League, Babe Ruth would have hit 50 homers and won 20 games. I really believe that. He would have pitched every fourth day. He would have won a ton of games. He still has as many career shutouts as Pedro Martinez, and Pedro, for a short period at least, is the greatest pitcher I've ever seen. So as much as I admire what Shohei Ohtani's doing, and I just close my eyes, it's unbelievable. I just think we need a little bit more of it. But 20 years from now, yes, we might say he's the greatest player of all time. I just think it's a tiny bit early right now.
And along that same, I was going to say, along that same vein, do you think that we're going to start to see players or organizations entertain players performing at that level, or is there going to be a baseline level of production that teams have to see before they seriously start to give a guy an opportunity like that to be a truly impactful two-way player?
Right. I just had to write a story for the Hall of Fame magazine on what baseball is going to look like in 2080. Okay. And I didn't even know what to do with it. But I wrote, among many other things, in 2080, we're still going to be looking for the next Shohei Ohtani, meaning I think he's a once in a lifetime kind of player. And I just don't think that there are people like this. The Dodger people have told me everything that guy does is surgical. That's the word that they use. Every single swing he takes, every step he takes when he runs, every time he picks up a baseball to throw it, there is a purpose behind it. I think he is unique in that way. I don't think we're going to see, oh, well, Shohei's a two-way player. Let's get this guy and make him a two-way player. I think he's a once-in-a-lifetime player.
I don't disagree. I feel like, because some of these guys, I was down at the draft combine in Arizona, and I was there last year as well. And from the first year that I did it compared to just the very next year, the influx of players who identify as a two-way player was like 10x one year over the other. And of course, a lot of these players are not going to remain two-way players. I think it's just a matter of instead of, I don't know how to say this, instead of producing baseball players, the game is producing more athletes. So because they're producing more athletes, we're getting the players who have, like you said, the ability to hit balls at 100 plus exit velocity and able to throw 97 off the mound. They're just better athletes. But whether or not they stay two-way players or are able to make it to the big leagues as two-way players, I just don't think we're going to see somebody comparable. Even if we see like the next two-way player to make it to the big leagues in the next, call it 5 to 10 years, are they going to be as good as Shohei Ohtani just because they can do both? No. Like, it's just, he's a freak. The fact that he was the first, and not only is he the first, but he's the best. And you mentioned Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth didn't pitch and hit at the same time. Like, Shohei is doing it not only at the same time, but he's doing it on the days that he pitches, he hits. He's doing it on the same day. So I just, as a baseball fan, I have a great appreciation for what I'm able to see in real time. I'm not going to need hindsight 10 years from now, 15 years from now to look back and be like, man, I really wish I appreciated the peak years of Shohei Ohtani while I got them, because we're not going to see this again for a long time, maybe ever. Like, I'm appreciating every bit of it as it's happening in real time, as I'm sure you are as well.
Yeah, and I warn people all the time, please cherish what you're watching here, because we have never seen this before, and I don't think we'll ever see this again. And too many times people pass right in front of our eyes, and we don't even recognize what we're watching. Well, we need to with this guy, because this is breathtaking, every move that he makes.
さらに大谷選手はリーグ1位の32本塁打と OPS1.028 をマークしています。彼の打撃だけでなく28盗塁も記録しており、その偉業は史上2人目とされています。米スポーツメディアオクタスタッツは、
翔平大谷は7月終了時点で32本塁打と28盗塁を記録している。MLB の歴史でこれを達成したのは1998年のアレックス・ロドリゲスだけである
と報告しています。その年のロドリゲスは最終的に42本塁打と46盗塁を記録し、40-40クラブに名を連ねました。大谷選手も7月を終えて年間47本塁打と41盗塁のペースで、ホセ・カンセコ、バリー・ボンズ、アレックス・ロドリゲス、アルフォンソ・ソリアーノ、ロナルド・アクーニャ・ジュニアに続く史上6人目の40-40達成も期待されています。今シーズン、大谷選手がどれほどの記録を打ち立てるかが非常に期待されています。ご視聴ありがとうございました。チャンネル登録と高評価をお願いします。コメントもお待ちしております。